I... Whatever. Welcome to Recall to Base, a show where we recall and talk about all things Riftbound. I'm Samuel.
I'm Nathan, and this week we are talking about Riftbound.
Me when I can't talk.
I've been ill, bro. Like, leave me alone. Look,
Yeah, Nathan's been ill. I just started a new job. We've all been like, our heads have been our head is a little
no, but
bit
today
place.
we're talking about a big question I get asked about now that we're a couple weeks into Unleashed, which is, should players get into Riftbound? And I thought it'd be quite good to talk about because we had a lot of tournaments and a lot of data come in very recently that's kind of swaying the scene of Riftbound. So I thought it'd be quite cool to like go back and forth and see if we agree, disagree on if Riftbound's a good game to get into.
Yeah, because I think this is an interesting point because we have people coming into card games in general from different angles, people coming into Riftbound specifically from different angles. Like, you could be coming from League, or you could be coming from Magic, or other TCGs. So it's interesting.
Well, I think it's just like also the sheer quantity of people playing Riftbound is kind of ridiculous.
Oh,
like,
yeah, our locals is full.
Well, our locals is like nearly twice as much as Magic events.
Yeah, we fill out the store, which no other event in that shop does.
I recently worked at a Goblin Con, Mythic Goblin specific con event, and I think like unironically, like their modern tournament, they had 2 days of it, only had like 70 people. Like,
yeah. And then even that is shocking. I think that's mostly just because it's the biggest tournament that was going to happen in London.
Oh, yeah.
And then obviously everyone from in the outskirts of London is going to come if they play Modern. But it's just like that format is not a real thing in paper.
Yeah, true. But it's also just like...
Most Magic formats are not a real thing in paper except for Commander.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, think about... We're going to get to this when we talk about Riftbound, but think about a price of the average Riftbound deck. What is it, like 200 quid,
No,
500?
way less than that. It's like $100.
Yeah,
Unless you're playing Aurora, like every deck you can get under 100. Like
exactly. Like, our game is very affordable, especially compared to other TCGs. Average price of a fucking standard deck in Magic is like upwards of 300 quid. If you're playing like Badgermole Slop, it's like 500.
I love it when... Did I tell you the story about that LeBlanc player who like... No, I need to tell you the story. Like, there was one week where a LeBlanc player, I was sitting next to him in locals, and he started complaining. He was like, oh, this is so bad. I'm like, why? What's wrong? I said, bait hook ban. Why is it £30? Why is bait hook like 30 quid each? And I'm like, brother, you're playing a top tier, like, you basically net decked a fucking deck, let's be honest.
Dude, these stupid Chungus fucking Riftbound players don't know how good they have it. Imagine you're playing just your entry-level deck, and you have to chill out like 100 quid just for the mana base, just for the thing you need to play the game. What do you mean? Like, shut up, don't complain. You don't know how good you have it.
I remember.
So that's my main point. My main point is, do you want to play a TCG in paper? Yes, play Riftbound. I don't, other than Pokemon, which, who the fuck plays Pokemon? There isn't an affordable card game out there except for Riftbound.
I remember there was, what's it called? It reminds me of there was one time I tried Pokemon one time, right? And I, no joke, would win like turn 2, turn 3 every game.
Huh.
I like Yu-Gi-Oh! People now. It was like some fucking like...
Funny.
It was like, do you know Rotom, the orange little like light bulb looking dude?
Yeah, from Sun and Moon.
Or whatever. No, he's not. He's way older.
Oh.
He's way older than that.
Then no.
He's the electric dude that like it enters all the electronics and there's like a Hoover.
Yeah, that's from Sun and Moon.
No, it's not. That's like he's old. He's way older than that.
I remember him from the Hawaii anime. That's all I remember him from.
Okay, but anyway, like I remember there was a deck where he would just one shot everyone. But back to the point. But it's like, yeah, I think like, don't get me wrong, like 100 quid is 100 quid. Like, it's not like beer and the bush that's saying that's not like expensive, but like in comparison, it's
and I think you can easily put a deck together. I don't know about top tier for that amount, but I'm thinking like another reason why it's so easy to get into the game is because, or at least in our local community, and I think we can say this about everyone, people have so many cards. Like, decks are opened in bulk. Everyone opens so much. Yeah. So everyone has a bunch of the meta-relevant stuff just laying around. As long as it's not the top expensive stuff like the signature spells and some high-end cards, everyone will just be like, here, 5 quid, take the whole deck.
Yeah, we'll go more in detail about that, but like, we should, like, I'll do a little countdown if we should, do we think it's a good idea to get to Riftbound? It's gonna be pretty fucking obvious.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
Yeah. But what?
Now I think what's it called? Now if you do want to get into Riftbound, I think what we can go over today is talking about like for those who haven't really got into Riftbound or don't know much about it, what are the like key things or like key steps you should take? like, what's it called? I think, I don't know about you, but number one, I think is, first of all, like, learning the game, right? That's pretty...
I mean, yeah. The Prof made a really good video when this set came out for the Tolarian Community College.
There's a lot of tutorials
that was my favorite one. That's the one I used.
But to be fair, like, what's it called? To be fair, like, the star product entry stuff isn't even that bad, if I remember right.
Yeah. If you want to, like, spend a little bit of money just to get accustomed with how the game plays, I think the starter decks are fine. It's like, you're not going to have a competitive experience.
Well, like, what's it called?
Like,
if I'm not
you'll learn how the game works.
If I'm not mistaken, I swear, like, no star product was, like, meta-defining out the bat, right?
No. We had the Jinx starter deck that was
shit.
No. The Victor was alright. You could build
I just realized Victor was pretty. Do you remember the barren wasteland of everyone trying to get Victor?
Yeah.
And like, I just want the yellow one.
Then Lee Sin and Jinx decks are just rotting on the shelves.
I also like, my face was like, I like just realized as well as we were talking is that like there was also Prover Grounds which had like two whatever decks and then two actual
you don't need to say whatever. The two actively shit decks, and then two decent. Like, my commander's good.
I don't know about
legend.
I don't know about decent. I think that they're meta defining in my honest opinion.
Sure, yeah, true.
They are.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Wait, what world are you living with, Master?
No. I'm not saying, but I'm saying out of the box. Out of the box, it wasn't taking down tournaments. You had to build a deck. You had to build a deck.
Yeah, but like I feel like what's it called? Just get a starter deck. I don't even think they're like in shortages anymore because I know there was the thing where new players who wanted to get into Riftbound off the bat, they couldn't because there was no product.
Yeah. Now the game is fixed.
Yeah. Now the product is actually fixed. Thanks, Riot.
I'm gonna give a hot take. I think, in my opinion, you could skip the starter product as long as you
think
have.
So?
I think if you know how the game works.
No. But I'm saying is like someone who doesn't know.
I think if you have another way where you can find out how the game works, I think you can just jump into buying your first deck. You can like see what the meta is looking like and see what deck kind of fits whatever playstyle you want. And I don't think the starter products offer that much of a like exemplary experience because the meta decks are not only very like built incorrectly, but they're also very they're kind of its own format. Like you're playing if you're starting the game with a starter deck, you're kind of like playing a different game. So I think as long as you know how the basics work, you could like get some online games as practice or something like that. You kind of just go to whatever deck you want and just start playing.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like I always will, and I'm gonna like contradict you quite a bit. Is I don't think you should just build whatever deck you want.
Yeah,
I think
obviously there's points against it. Like, you need to know what you want.
Unironically, I think if I tell me if you agree or disagree, but I unironically would say that if I was getting someone into the game and they said, what deck should I play? I would recommend only two decks, which is Rengar and Lilia. To getting into the game. No. Hear me out. Here's my point. Number one, like when someone's new to a TCG or when they're new to Riftbound, they're not gonna know all the fucking archetypes. Like, it's not like be around the bush and say like, oh, well, I know I'm gonna be a control player or I am gonna be an aggro player. No, they won't know.
It's not even that simple in Riftbound. Yeah, but Riftbound is not like that. We don't have defined archetypes like that other than aggro, really.
Yeah, but like we don't like what's it? They're not gonna know.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
They won't know how any of those feel like or what they're gonna play like until like they get a couple games in. And I think like Rengar and Lilia unironically are just so brain dead simple.
Yeah, they're simple.
They're super simple and they're just like really easy to build.
And they're also good because while they're simple to start up, their skill ceiling is actually quite high. So the more you play it, the more you can develop not only as a player but with the deck itself. And I think those are good recommendations.
I think besides like Lilia's probably the more like expensive deck because it's in blue with like Thousand Tail and
Thousand Tail.
I've seen Thousand Tail and Unchecked Powers. But but Rengar I know is like besides Orange Rengar it's like
Orange Rengar, which is a 3 of, so
is it expensive, that card?
Yeah, it's still like more expensive than a Baron, I think.
More expensive than Baron?
Yeah.
Money wise?
Yeah, because Yi, one of the top tier decks, plays 3 of.
Yeah, but like I know that, but Baron like last time I was playing
Baron's
was
like 15. Rengar is like either like 15 or like 20.
You should put it up. I want to see the numbers.
Hey, let's pull it up.
Yeah.
Card market?
Yeah, go obviously card market, yeah. But you know,
live price check.
If you were a new player, I would recommend playing Rengar or Lilia. Unironically, I think.
But let's not kid ourselves. No new players listening to this podcast.
True. No. I'm going to push this to all the new players. That's what I'm going to do. But no,
we're saying if you have a new player, tell them to play those decks. That's our recommendation.
The reason why, and I'm going to explain the decks to you, is that the whole point of those decks is to just shit out of their hand and be aggressive as possible. They're all about putting units on the board and just swinging. And you're just going to for one, that's super simple to understand. Like Rengar is like the easiest thing to understand. Like it's just I play unit at battlefield instead of base, and then I swing.
All right, the cheapest Rengar in English is £16.75.
Okay, that's not
In the
too
UK.
bad. That's not too bad. But
Yeah.
to continue my point, both those decks are just I make units and I swing really hard.
And I try to tempo you out and kill battlefields.
Exactly, yeah. So one, they're very easy to play because there's no like hard restriction. They're just units at the end of the day. But number two, a big one I think is that it also is going to teach new players about the fundamentals of combat and spells and stuff like that.
And movement
because you're so aggressive with your cards. You're gonna like playing them is gonna be super simple, but at the same time, now that they're played out, you can now learn and focus more about the which shenanigans in combat or like when to keep them in certain locations, like you're saying.
Yeah.
And it's just gonna like, even though it might take a while, it's gonna teach you the core. It's gonna teach you like the core fundamentals.
And I think a really cool thing about these combat decks, Lilia less so because Lilia doesn't really care about this, but Rengar, you need to know when to put units in battlefields as well, which is something that you kind of just learn through feel by just getting your ass blown out over and over. For example, you don't want to just put a unit at a battlefield, let it die to your opponent's Kai'Sa, and then be sad because you want to like have a bit more value. So Rengar is a good deck to teach players that.
Yeah.
One point I wanted to bring up, now that we've talked about good starter decks, do you think it matters where each player is coming from in terms of why they got into the game in the first place? For example, what if someone came in from never playing any TCG, but they like the League of Legends IP?
I think it does.
Versus them coming in from
I think
Magic.
it does because like if you haven't played a single other TCG, then
your skill floor is going to be way lower.
Yeah, and you just don't know the core fundamentals of TCG games.
One thing that like matters a lot in all TCGs and in Riftbound is the concept of card advantage, the concept of trading like 1-for-1, 2-for-1, that kind of thing. And that's kind of the stuff that you learn through other TCGs.
Yeah.
So but do you think Riftbound is a good base TCG, like the first one to get into?
Yes, I would
really.
Say, I think so because
it's not that bad.
No, because of two like a couple main elements. Number one, the cost to play cards is pretty True. Simple, and like for example, like you don't have to worry about like the mana base of Magic or like no mana base of like Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff like that. And then you have a pretty simple like clear cut way, like this is your mana, you get this every turn, you can play these cards at X amount of time. Just basically giving a new player the routine is like really easy. Number two, the actual unit, like the core gameplay of just play units at base, swing, start showdowns, and spells and stuff like that is very simple to understand. Like I
think there's some debate there.
No, as in like not even explaining what's good and what's bad, just telling them how it works. It's super simple.
But I still feel like there's a lot of weirdo interactions that.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not talking, but like ignore. Okay, you're thinking of like, oh, I have to know the effects. No, if you made every unit vanilla. And you just said explain the core rules. Don't worry about units or like what they're Don't worry about effects. How do the core mechanics work? It's super duper simple.
Okay, I guess.
It is.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
Play units at base.
No, because it's literally just like you have two cards in front. You compete for those for points by moving units into there. You play units at battlefield you control or at base.
Yeah.
There's also other cards like spells and gear that give you cool tricks to do on your turn or a cool interaction to play on your opponent's turn.
Sure, okay.
Did you see
when we think about basics, it is pretty simple.
Yeah.
I'm more thinking when we get to actually playing the game and some of the weird shit that happens when we're playing,
but that's
then
like,
it gets complicated.
But then like what's it called? Like then that's like at that point in my mind I see that as okay, I'm teaching a new player how not like how to play, but what to play and like what's good and what's bad, right? Yeah. If I'm literally like if someone literally has like no clue, nothing about Riftbound, the core fundamentals I think are pretty simple to understand. And then like things like effects and like what's good and what's bad, what's a good trade, what's a bad trade, when to play certain cards, when to use power cost, stuff like that. That's when I would say like, okay, that's gonna require time and effort. But like the actual fundamentals of what can you do and what you can't do, that's the important thing. Yeah. Because I think the worst thing you can have, and it happens a lot of times in like board games and other TCGs like Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff, is when can you do certain things? Like just telling a player when X amount of things happen, it can get pretty overwhelming. Like in Magic, you can have like, oh, so you have these 4 phases that have X amount of things you have to do, and you have to remember what each phase does. True. And then like you also have to remember to play the cards and then like read what the cards do.
Because I guess it's a bit weird because in Riftbound we don't have phases like the other two big TCGs do. So yeah,
Like you're not,
I
you're
guess
like
it's less
as a new player, you're not punished by saying like, oh, you actually can't play that card because that card could only be played during your like main phase
I mean,
one.
action,
Oh yeah,
sorcery,
but
like yeah,
yeah.
like reaction spells, yeah. Guys, I remember one thing that tripped me up at the start, like playing the game, was like the whole I play an action, I have to pass. Then you play an action. I can't react because I don't have reaction, but I have an action.
Yeah.
And then we have to pass and pass and pass.
Yeah.
It was like, that was a bit complicated. But okay.
My overall point, I think that teaching the core fundamentals of the game is pretty simple.
Yeah.
And as a new player, if you're like for new players listening, I would say like, what's it called? It won't take you that long. The key thing you need to figure out is what certain cards do and what's your core like focus.
Yeah.
If you went without advice and chose to build Rengar or Lilia, it's pretty self-explanatory that their decks are just, I make X amount, like if you're playing Rengar, my units come in at like action speed or reaction speed, and they like beat out my opponent's units after I swing.
Yeah.
What's it called? Lilia makes loads of tokens that can swing every turn very quickly.
Yep.
And you just outvalue your opponent with like the sheer amount of like sprite tokens you make.
And then these decks can let you figure out what the rest of the meta is like. You show up to locals, you just play locals, figure out what's happening.
Which is what I would say is your second step is after getting like a good chunk of time like into those decks, like maybe like a couple of matches or like one locals with your friends or something, I would say the next step is just look at the meta and decide what type of player you want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
although maybe it will feel like a bit of an investment. Getting a deck and then switching off. So maybe like see if you can borrow cards. That's one thing. I think probably the most important step is actually obtaining the cards. Obviously, you could be a whale, and if you like just enjoy opening packs, just buy a box, whatever. But you're not going to get a deck like that. You're going to get a lot of value to then trade for a deck. But I think the most important thing is seeing what the community is like for your local area. Because I think the best way to obtain cards is seeing if the store or the players that go to locals, if they like actually have the cards, and then you trade with them or obtain the cards through them. Because one, that's a good way of meeting people in the scene, getting to know people, getting to see like if people can help you out with getting into the game. But also is like a lot of players just want more people to be into the game. So they will just like, if it's a like card like a Defy and they just have a few lying around, they will just give you Defies and like that kind of thing. At least in our local scene, players are very friendly like that.
What if we
can't speak for every local scene, but I think most of them.
Now here's my counter question: what if someone's like a bum and just like, I don't want to meet people and I don't want to leave my home? What do you say to people like that?
Well, then you're getting into the wrong game. Like, go play League of Legends. Like, what is this conversation? If we're getting into a TCGs because you want to go outside and you want to go to this LGS and like actually play with people, like.
I love the idea, Sammy. You're gonna be like some like introverted person at locals. You'll be like, fucking
but they're not that introverted if they made it to locals. They're clearly like not that bad.
Get the fuck out of here. You ever said hi to me? Get out of here, bro.
I'm not gonna lie to you. If I'm sitting across an opponent and they're being weirdos and they're like no. Like, I'm trying to interact with them and they're not reciprocal, I'm gonna be like, fuck is wrong with this guy? I'm sorry, that's just like, that's on you, man. I'm just like trying to interact with you.
Like, as a little,
not my fault.
As a little side of it, do you have interactions, like a few interactions like that in the past? Because I have one funny one I'll tell you about.
I mean, not really. Most people are pretty, like, normal. It's very weird to come across a, like, genuine weirdo who's like, actually, you can't do that.
I went to a One Piece locals for the first time ever. My first ever...
Big red flag. That's the first thing you went wrong.
So my first ever time playing One Piece, like, in a big scene, but also my first time going to an actual locals ever.
Yeah.
My round two, one run, my opponent says, like, he goes, what's up? And I go... Nothing much, are you alright? And he goes, yeah, I'm fine. And he, like, while he's playing his turn, he pulls out a booster box of Gundam. And he starts ripping packs in front of me while I'm doing my turn. And then, like, I open with, like, I'm new, I'm sorry. If I make a mistake, it's like, I'm so sorry. He goes, yeah, it's okay. And I remember I made a mistake, and he goes, yeah, that's alright. My turn. He didn't let me undo it or anything like that. He just went, yep, you missed it. It's okay. You'll learn next time.
That's a dickhead move.
And then
locals. Damn.
Yeah, and he then resumed to open his Gundam packs. I'm like, what is this fucking ape, bro? Like, what's this ape behavior? Like, he's probably that was the first brain rotted person I ever met. Like, can you imagine? Like, he has to have pack opening.
It's the little Subway Surfers.
Yeah. But with for new players, when you're looking at the meta, I think when you play your deck, you kind of get a good feel of, like, not only just what the core game feels like, but also what type of player you are. So
Yeah.
you should have so then at that point it's time to do your homework and do a little bit of research. Now,
But that's part of the fun. It's,
I know,
I'm
I
saying
think
homework
no,
as if it's a bad thing, but no, it's
no,
part of the enjoyment of the game.
It's part of the charm.
Yeah,
it's part of the
you
charm,
want
figuring out what the cards entail and what the
results are, data specifically.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking at data, you might be a bit more sweaty than a starter player.
Now,
But
if
like,
you-
yeah, but that's
yeah.
how you like develop the interest into the game.
Now, if you actually just want to look at all the cards and also people's decks, probably the best way to do that is looking at Piltover Archive.
Yeah, Piltover Archive, Rift decks, it gives you the tournament decks. That's one of the best resources.
But I would say like using Piltover Archive.
Yeah.
Using Piltover Archive is just a great way to build decks, research decks, copy and paste them, and just like fucking rob people blind. Like,
it's our Mox field. It's the Mox field we have for
yeah,
Riftbound.
exactly.
It's very good.
It's very, very good. And like, what's it called? I think like for a new player, like just go wherever the fuck you feel with. The only thing I would say is don't go blue purple. Unironically,
blue purple is a very like you need to know exactly what you're doing. Those decks are very complicated.
Blue purple, like
unless you're playing Teemo. Teemo's fine.
Yeah. No. I even think like what's it called? Playing basically the thing with blue purple for those who don't know is that their whole strategy and their whole like win condition is that they beat you on for one-to-one interaction. That acts as 2-for-1 in most scenarios, and playing the right interaction at the right time and seeing the right cards at the right time and playing them in a specific order
and knowing exactly when to use specific resources.
Yeah. And I think as a new player, that's gonna just be a fucking headache. Like, let's be
not
honest.
even that. It's like you're not gonna be able to play a. Let's just say it's like a fucking control deck. You're not gonna be able to play a control deck if you don't know what the meta is like and you don't know how your deck answers the meta.
I mean,
there are specific things that you need to be thinking about when you're using specific cards.
Yeah, I mean, like there are some like for example, like if the player decides I want to play Lux, I think that deck's pretty fucking easy.
I mean, okay, there's control decks and then there's control decks. I guess there's different flavors.
But I get your point though. Yeah. Like certain, I personally would say just stay away from every blue purple deck in my opinion.
Yeah,
blue purple is really fucking rough. I think unironically LeBlanc is also can be pretty difficult.
I mean, LeBlanc, it's less of a player skill thing and more of a keeping in track with all your triggers and all your like shenanigans that are happening. Because that deck is just there's a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah,
it's it's like a commander deck where you have 15 engines running. It becomes a headache.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think Irelia I'd say is a bit annoying as well. Because Irelia is a deck that I've heard can feel like it's playing against itself. Yeah, because you need to know how your deck functions very well.
So basically, we're just saying don't play blue purple and don't play Irelia. Just don't play those. And LeBlanc. Yeah, just don't play those decks.
Any other deck that you think is pretty cringe to keep on track of? I'd say Pike. At least the Pikes that are failing successful, those decks that play like.
No, because like the way I see it is that like you can always play a Pike deck. Like the Pike, the way I view it is that like playing the core deck is pretty like what's it called? For the other decks we said that are pretty hard. Playing the core fundamentals is pretty rough and like pretty hard to figure out. Whereas like Pike, I think that deck like depending on the version you build is.
That's the thing. I was gonna get into this, but the versions that are being successful are basically Ezreal decks. So.
Yeah.
Be careful with that deck as well. It's
I would probably play like the. Spirit.
Hidden Pike.
No, I play the Spirit.
Oh yeah, the Spirit bounce. Oh yeah, if you're just doing Spirit bounce shenanigans, which the deck does anyway.
Yeah.
When you're doing that, it's pretty straightforward. Yeah. But like,
I play Pike Control because have you seen? I saw someone play. I saw him. What's his name? That's a YouTuber that played it.
I know the guy. I know the guy. I don't know his name either. But he shows up on my thingy and then he plays against Chud opponents and wins. And I'm like,
he has like the thickest. He has like the sexiest, thickest jawline I've ever seen in my life. By the way, like I'll put it on screen.
Yeah, put it on screen when you.
Yeah, it's fucking. It's ridiculous. But no, the only thing pro tip I would say is don't feel bad at just copying a deck list.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you can make adjustments and changes if you can't get specific cards.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you're playing Pike. Like, I really like Pike, but I can't obtain 3 signatures or whatever. Like, or let's just say you can't obtain the signatures that you need. Shucks, like you could just swap it out for another interact. The key thing is like knowing if you're cutting something, replace it with something that is something similar. Yeah, that's my pro tip.
Yeah, don't replace an effect with a completely different effect that does something completely different because then your deck is going to be less consistent.
Yeah, and then like I would say like it's okay to copy a deck purely because of the fact that is purely because like deck building is like a whole other can of worms. Like everyone can deck build, but deck building effectively is going to be really hard.
I think that's the hardest thing in our game. Like deck building, you need to have a lot of experience under your belt. Even we deck build a lot, but even we sometimes struggle finding like a successful list,
Yeah.
and like
And it takes a lot of time, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times it's just you have to trial and error, and I guess you have a lot less tools if you're new to the game because you don't know what exactly is causing your deck to fail.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like, what's it called? Like, just only like, unless you like, if you're really really getting into it, then go for it. But like, I think honestly you'll be fine. And then
Yeah,
like,
I mean, just have fun. So
Yeah,
at the end of the day, at the end of the day, this is a hobby designed to have fun.
should we go
and
over
then, yeah.
the meta? Because I was like, what's it called?
I was thinking this is about enough for getting new players into the game.
Well, no, I think.
But after you've
No, but
like seen,
But I think we should discuss the meta so that
Yeah.
like, what's it called? New players can understand like what the meta actually looks like. Because I will say that that's like the second most asked question I get, when I talk to people is like, oh hey, is Riftbound good? And then the second one is the meta healthy? And in my opinion, yes.
Yeah.
I think Riftbound like
I have to
think
agree
it's
with you, the meta's pretty healthy.
Yeah, I think undoubtedly, I think everyone can agree, and it's probably fucking boring to hear it at this point now, but
Meta's fine.
the meta is probably the best it's ever been.
And probably the best it ever will be, let's be real.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
think we're ever going to have like a 6-7 deck format. Sorry.
Okay.
My bad.
All right, thank you guys so much.
So,
Should we go over the meta? Because
first let's give our thoughts, or do you have any more in-depth thoughts on the meta? Because I do.
I think that what's it called? I think personally, I like that the decks that people are complaining about aren't actually doing well. I think that's my favorite thing. And ironically, is that the decks that like compete very well, or like the decks that people complain about, mainly LeBlanc and fucking Aurora, they're not actually doing top tier well. But I also
I mean, that's debatable on the Aurora, yes, but on LeBlanc, it is putting up results.
Oh, is it?
Quite consistently.
Is it? I don't
Constantly
know.
like top 8ing. Like in Vancouver, there was like 2
I didn't.
top 8s.
Well, because I only saw like, we can go over the data in a minute, but I only saw it top 4. But I never saw it
It won
like.
Vancouver, didn't it?
I don't think no.
Yeah, it did.
No, it didn't.
LeBlanc won Vancouver, yes.
Did it? I don't know.
Yes.
Like, this is how you know, like, I've been ill because I don't fucking track this shit. But no, but I think, like, what's it called? I think another thing as well that it really does come down to player skill. Like, the player, like, the fact that, like, it does say something when every time a new deck or a rogue deck wins, like, the player that is explaining the deck goes, yeah, it makes sense. And then everyone else like, huh?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. It's like when Azir fucking won Lil. Like, Azir won Lil.
Yeah, back in that day, yeah.
Yeah, back in that day, bro. That was like that was only 3 months ago.
Yeah, but that was before Azir was like fully meta, and now it's just like
I mean, it's a good deck. It was a very good deck, yeah. But
Yeah,
that's my only thoughts.
My
really.
thoughts is that while the meta, yes, is very healthy, and there's a lot of decks you could play, and a lot of decks you could theoretically win a big event with, I think my problem with it, and this has gone down recently, is like kind of got over it, but I think the decks that are top tier and the decks that are having a lot of consistent success with, they're just kind of bullshit. Like there's things that the other decks that aren't those top tier decks do. And you play against the top tier decks, and it's like, oh, you're just playing a different game than me. We're just playing a different game. Like, the things you're doing are just fundamentally on a better level.
What even is it? Like, go.
So let's look at. I wrote some notes. So first of all, I want to talk about Yi and how Yi just operates on a fundamentally different level in terms of defense than most other decks, because it's a defensive, almost whole deck. I think it is a whole deck where you will always have might advantage over your opponent, and you'll always be able to, not always, but you'll consistently be able to out trick your opponent. So because they have access to orange and green, 2 very good reactive colors for like being able to answer removal and answer pump spells and that kind of thing. And they also just have some bullshit units. Like, what do you mean you have a Rengar that you can for 5 mana go to an open battlefield them attacking and just win the combat because you have 8 might? That is, I don't think that's okay. I know there's like ways to play around it. I'm not saying any of this is like you can't play around it, but I'm just saying is like they're playing a different game. Let's go to Irelia.
But I think like what's it called? I see the point, but then like I feel like certain decks do have the ability to interact and stuff.
Of course, I'm not saying you can't interact. I'm just saying on a base level, they're just better at certain things than a lot of decks, which I guess, yes, that's how healthy meta works.
But wait, that's how most TCGs...
Yes, but my main problem is that they're not just a little better, they're like miles better. I want to talk about Irelia, where the deck is just like so hard to deal with, and even if you know exactly how to deal with the deck, it just comes down to what cards you see versus what cards they see, and it feels like there's not a lot of... No, there is, but like... Sometimes if they just have all the defies and all the interaction they need to protect the Irelia, that feels like there wasn't much you could do if you didn't see your cards.
But then that's like...
You could talk... Yes, I know, you could just say this about everything, but it feels these decks are extra punishing in that sense.
Yeah, but then like just to play devil's advocate is that like I think that I understand that the advantage is like exponential and that's what makes it a top tier deck. But then also it's like I feel like what's it called? Like that is like the fundamentals of like certain colors now. Like what's it called? Like green is coming down to like did you have Defile not so fast? Like that's what's felt like for a lot of green plays. Or like orange is like, oh, you have to play orange Rengar. Which is like that ultimately just comes down to like what the meta is and what's good and what's not.
Yeah, but I'm just saying when you try to deal with these decks, you need very specific cards and very specific ways to deal with them. And the point I'm alluding to is that while the meta is very diverse and very like there's a lot of things you can play, if you're trying to build something that can effectively counter the whole meta, it's basically impossible. You're not going to have the tools to counter Aurora versus countering Yi versus countering Aurelia versus countering LeBlanc.
No.
You just don't have enough tools and not enough sideboard slots to be able to effectively deal with these decks.
Some colors in some decks do get enough range, but then at the same like what's it called? Like a big thing I saw was that like what's it called? Like main thing was that I saw people changing their sideboards and putting in main deck because it was like, I'll just this is for this specific matchup. I don't need that slot for a specific combo or card or whatever. A part of my deck, and then if I don't play against it, okay, I'll just play something else. You know what I mean? And but I can see your point. Like if you're not playing if you're not playing a top tier deck, I can understand the frustration because it does feel kind of bad when you play like a jank deck and then like or not a jank deck,
not necessarily jank, but like not tier 1. If you're not like a tier 1.5 or tier 2 deck, it's like a completely different game. Like I mean, my main complaints is coming from the fact that I'm a Pike player trying to figure out how the thing works, and now that I've seen what Pike decks are having success, it's very much like you just kind of have to spread yourself thin in all directions and just hope you hit the right cards. Yeah. Which is a bit weird, but I guess if you get lucky and you run well, that works.
But that like makes sense to me.
And plus the playstyle's fun. I like that playstyle.
To me it makes sense because for a while now, like the meta, like what's it called? Before Unleashed, the meta really was just my deck does my very specific thing, and if that thing is good against like the rest of the thing, it's better. Like Aurelia was good because its stats was big enough to beat anything around there.
Can't hold it against it.
In Spirit Forge, in Origins, Kaiser's interaction was so much better than everything else. That beat everything on the board state that it was just like, okay, there's nothing better. Do you know what I mean?
And in a sense, it's good that every deck is kind of like that, where every top tier deck is just better at something.
But now, like, from your point, it seems like the meta has come down to, like, everyone has answers, and not every deck, but, like, most decks have a good range of answers, but you have to, like, either find it or spread yourself so thin that, like, you have a core theme of, like, maybe, like, 10 to 15 cards that are actually part of your theme. But the rest is just the rest of it is just removal or protection or interaction for those like big matchups. Which to me, like I don't know if you agree, but to me it sounds kind of good because like it stops people from just going like all tunnel vision into one thing.
Yeah, like, I agree that there's upsides to it. The only thing is that it does feel like feels bad when you run bad and don't find the key pieces. It's like, but that's with anything. Like if you're running a very impactful sideboard and you just don't find your sideboard pieces and your opponent beats you before you find them, it's like, run bad, I guess.
But like, what's it called? Like, because like, what's the alternative? Like, the alternative is just like we either just make our deck very specific and then if you go against a matchup, tough shit. Or Riftbound just start making cards that like in their archetypes that go, okay, let's beat everything.
I don't know what the answer is because I'm not gonna lie to you. While I was making some changes to Pike or one of the Pike lists that I made, I was just like, listen, this deck is never gonna beat LeBlanc. I'll just stop siding for it because the deck, no matter how much hate I put in, just doesn't beat that deck. So I'll just like ignore it.
I think LeBlanc.
But then I since realized that the matchup is like, yes, it's terrible, but it's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's like...
To be fair, Sammy,
I can go into very specific... I can rant about the LeBlanc matchup versus Pike a lot, but it comes down to do you find the ways to interact with it? Yes, you might have a chance at winning. That's what it is.
Jesus Christ.
But it's like, just you can choose to ignore certain things, but because the meta is so diverse that there is a chance you just won't see them.
Now, can we just quickly, like, what's it called? No, can we go over like what are the other top decks? Because
Yes.
we've mentioned what's it called?
Irelia, which is just protect the queen and interact a lot. Draw a
Master
bunch
Yi.
of cards. Master Yi, just be bigger.
Big stuff. There's what's it called?
LeBlanc.
Which is this Death Kneel like token strategy.
I call LeBlanc the ultimate attrition deck because there is not a single deck, arguably Aurora, but like mostly not a single deck that beats LeBlanc in the late game. And puts most decks in the position where they're just trying to outrace and out-tempo LeBlanc.
Yeah, basically, if those who don't know, to explain, it's just basically their deck is built around Death Knell cards, and then the whole deck is bringing those Death Knell cards back from the grave or cloning the Death Kneels by using
cloning
LeBlanc
Death Kneels
effect.
with a legend.
So you do it twice, and then you just like get so much value, mana,
And the deck is
card
very
draw.
versatile because it plays very well defensively, it plays very well aggressively, it has a lot of dig to find specific answers in the deck, it has a lot of recursion to like outgrind basically anyone, and the deck is just... You can answer it early enough in the game where if you take control of both battlefields early enough, you can just kind of set up an impenetrable wall. But if you can't and you let it slip even one bit, they take complete advantage and the game is completely out of reach.
I mean, like from my experience, I've beaten a lot of LeBlanc now as Vex. I've beaten it pure.
Vex seems like it's a good matchup into LeBlanc. I'm gonna be real.
I mean, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. I mean, like
I think the fact that your champion counters the whole signature spell, which is the best card in the deck, I think that's pretty.
Oh
good.
yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, but then also there's the thing of like certain interactions or like letting them like what's it called? They can't really contest battlefields very early.
Yeah.
Like very easily. So as long as you can control their battlefields pretty well, it's like,
I agree.
it's like GG. But then like yeah, I think like what's it called? LeBlanc is a cool deck. I think it's like out of all the decks, it has the strongest theme of like, oh, this is its archetype.
It's the most synergistic deck.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is very cool.
So if you like a big synergy slot pile, go for that.
Yeah. But yeah, for all the praise I'm giving it, don't get me wrong, if I'm playing against it, I think this is the most bullshit thing ever and I want it removed from the game, which is not my actual thoughts. I just get tilted.
Yeah.
Anyway, next most popular deck, let's talk about Aurora. So we have a few flavors of Aurora. The most popular one is Sivir, or MF, but mostly Sivir. That's the most successful one. Which is Purple Aurora. You're running a bunch of dig, finding the Aurora card, slamming down Elder Dragons, and let's be real, Aurora is just in the deck to get Elder Dragon and play one turn earlier. The game plan is Elder Dragon and just winning through that broken unit.
Yeah, because like the fact that it does two things Aurora does two things that make the deck pretty bullshit, which is Aurora is both mana cheat and card draw.
Yep.
And if like the whole for those who, it's just basically the whole deck is just Elder Dragon. There's no other units, and the rest is just interaction or protection or like card draw or whatever. And it has very good consistent ways to get Aurora on time or ramp towards it very quickly. It's very good.
The only thing that the deck does that is annoying is that while sometimes the deck wins by default because they just find the turn 3 Aurora and there's nothing you can do about it, and then you just lose because you physically can't outdo it, outgrind it. Or the deck just kind of loses to itself and only finds Aurora or Elder on turn 6, and then by then it's way too late and they just lose, which happens a lot. So it's a bit of a coin flippy deck. The inconsistency of it is why it's never going to be the most broken thing ever. But it is a bit weird.
You're relying on like seeing specific cards at specific times, and then that always will have just a downside to it. And it's like, and it's not like those cards are like they could be played on an off turn or something. Like, because of their cost and whatnot. So. And
the other thing is that it's a combo deck that doesn't have a deterministic win.
Yeah.
It's like even after you do your combo and slam down the Elder, you could just still lose. So that's funny.
If you're against purple specifically, you can lose very easily.
And if you're against green, just getting the dragon trigger not so fast, and then your opponent's at 7, so they win. It's like, sick.
I win. But no, I think also like for what's that called? Also, this deck is also just very expensive.
Yeah, it's probably the most expensive deck.
Oh yeah, no, 1,000%. This deck is super expensive. They cost a lot. And it's not even like it's doing well. It will do well in locals. I'll give him that.
Yeah,
at the local level, it will just smoke most things.
Because it's the kind of thing where, unless, like we said, you're the top 1% of decks or like the tier 1, your deck, most decks just can't deal with it.
Yeah.
Like I play Pike against it. Pike is just like doesn't really have the tools unless you have like the really well timed Starcross.
I'm maining Vex, and she has like some good.
Yeah.
She has some good lines, like some good interaction. Like she has all the key cards that she'll ever need. But the problem is that like if you don't see it, you don't see it. Do you know what I mean? But
Cool. After Aurora, we have. Let's talk about Diana. Diana/Ezreal. They're very different, but let's say Diana
I
first.
thought that was the one that won Vancouver.
Diana won the Chinese.
No, because Alan CQ won. Alan CQ won with a Diana.
Okay, so me when the website lies. Me when the website lies.
Yeah, I was gonna say because Alan CQ definitely won the most recent regional with Diana. Like that was
the most recent Western regional.
Yeah. Well, who cares about fucking Asia?
Oh my god, it was a fucking small tournament. Oh.
I
I mean, who cares about Asia? They're
No, we can't say that. I have to bleep that. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that is in fact the deck that won. There we go. RQ Vancouver.
Because he won. I don't know what he won against. Oh, he won against Rengar, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, because it was Rengar.
Okay, this website's just fucking lying to me. Whatever.
Yeah, because it was Rengar.
Whatever.
It was Rengar versus Diana, and Diana fucking Rengar's a very good deck, which we should go over in a minute because Rengar is actually performing really well. But Diana is just basically interaction deck.
Yeah.
It has all the great interaction that is really good in the meta right now.
It's more than that. It's also very good threats. It's the pinnacle of a tempo deck. It's just play a very good threat that can mostly snowball a game and then just out reaction your opponent.
Like, what's his top end? Hui, and
Hui, some of them are playing Baron, very few.
Yeah.
Purple Vex as well.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, those are and then they play a lot of Ride the Winds to combo with the Hui. And Hui is like just the ultimate top end where if you're keeping your opponent off resources and out-tempoing them, the card is just like a...
Whoa.
No more for you, sir. I'm going to outdraw you and outpower you.
It's just a good... And then like, Diana just gives you such a cool like mana cheat ability that like giving the ability to like Gust or like, Gust the unit, which Gust has been fucking... I need to main deck Gust or something. That card is so good. Mm-hmm. That card is ridiculously strong. It's like insane. But
there we go. Yeah, Diana won versus.
Again, for new players, I would not recommend this deck. I mean, like I personally think it's a very good deck.
It's a bit better than Ezreal. Ezreal is this times a million.
Yeah, I think
Ezreal's just fully
I think it's a very good deck, but I think the issue with it is that the deck just like requires a lot of like thinking power and like good mulliganing.
You need to know the lines as well. You need to think like a few turns ahead.
If you think you have the big like Alan ZQ brain, you should go for it. Like I'm not gonna say not go for it. Like play whatever the fuck you want at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But
and then I think those are like the.
Then there's Rengar, which has been.
I don't think we can't. I'll get to the specialist decks because I feel like Rengar is that kind of deck. They're very good, but if you're a specialist, that is very like you need to main and know exactly what the deck is. I don't think a person who picks up the deck in 2 weeks can go and take down an RQ with it.
I mean, fucking Malachi, a friend of ours, did that.
He didn't take the. He's been maining the deck. That's his main deck, by the way. So he's doesn't a play.
He's been winning with it. No, he went 1-2, I believe.
Yep. I feel like, for example, Brengar. It's a deck that while it can run really well, I feel like you can also just get shit on by just decks being better than your deck because your deck is ultimately a fair deck. You're just having more might than your opponent. There's nothing unfair about it.
Like you just get punished. I remember I played against Rengar's Vex and I lost. Which is really fun. I fucking love that. If
you're talking about Rengar experience, I remember I played against Malachi and he tried to Faithfolk one of my units into a battlefield. So I was already on Battlefield 1. He Faithfolked my unit into Battlefield 2, then played another unit. I gusted his guy, won the whole combat, got like 3 cards out of it. Because it was on the Seed of Powers, so I drew a card for Conquering because I already controlled the other battlefield. It was such a blowout. It was hilarious. He lost the game entirely on that one play. It was funny.
That is jokes.
So, Faithfolk carefully.
Faithfolk. But no, I remember...
And then Kha'Zix as well, they can put up results, but it's, again, special.
I really like that Kha'Zix list. I remember the guy posted a video on it, like the
I watched,
I really like that deck. Like, if I wasn't playing Vex, that's the deck I would play. Like, all the time.
Yeah, then there's Annie. Again, if you're not Prismat, you're probably going to struggle playing this deck. There's Victor, which is sometimes doing really well. Lux, which sometimes does really well. Yeah. It's like good thing about our meta is once you're a specialist and you know exactly how to play your deck into every single matchup and you've put hours and hours and hours onto it, and you're just playing the best cards in slots possible, you can do really well.
Yeah, like I think it's really cool that this game, like, not only does the tournament like reward you for doing that, but also like the game itself like fundamentally can reward you for like knowing how your deck works and how to beat like the rest of the meta. And I think that's like a good part of a TCG is that like it's not like fucking One Piece or other TC or One Piece or Magic where you have to play top end, obviously you lose because the top end just is so much better. But
in our game, you can have a mixture and your deck will be fine. At least for now.
As long as you're willing to put the time, effort, and energy into learning. So I think that's really good.
But yeah, the decks that we mostly see a lot of in the top of the leaderboard for tournaments is Diana, Yi, Irelia, and some number of Aurora decks. We can mention Poppy as well. Poppy's a relatively popular Aurora deck. It's yellow instead of purple, so it's a bit less consistent at finding the Aurora itself and the pieces. But it has a way crazier top end and just way more diverse threats, which is pretty cool. Fiora is a deck that we see a lot in Asia. Actually, not a lot in the West, but in Asia specifically, that's a deck that does really well, which is weird. I don't know why in China specifically the Fiora players.
Man, meta's like I would say like what's it called? Like take metas with a grain of salt because some metas are so defined by where the location, like what country they're or region they're from, but also by the scene. Like for example, like actually a friend of ours did a really good point for new players, and a big tip of advice is like some decks will absolutely smoke a regional. Like will do really well in the regional, but then when you go to a local scene, it will do really bad. So do take that with a grain of salt in the sense that feel free to edit or adjust your list like after you steal someone else's and just go.
I would actively warn players against looking at tournament winning decks because tournament decks that win tournaments are teched specifically for tournament meta. They're not teched for locals and they're not teched for just finding random shit in the wild. They're teched for. This is the tournament meta, basically. You try to go 4-0 or 3-0, get rid of all the scrub players who are just there for metal cards and stuff, so you're finally playing against the players who are just going for wins, and those players will be the meta, and then you can tech the rest of the event is just going to be against the meta, which is what your deck is built for.
Yeah.
So the tournament meta is basically just play against the meta. And it's not really teched for playing against off meta, which is why we see so many off meta decks do really well, because they catch people off guard.
God, yeah. And they also just like some people just don't know the fundamentals. Like if someone like came up to me with Lux and that new infinite combo, which you need to explain that to me.
We'll get to that.
But like for example, like if someone brought that list, I'm like, how does your deck win? Like what the fuck? Can we just go on to it now? Like what the hell that deck does?
Me when the podcast is scattered, but it's fine. So the combo basically is a deterministic win with the pieces Blue Renata, as Echo, the two recycle runes, some number of card draw and card draw spells like Sacrifice and Shadow's Call.
Okay.
Vanguard Armory to put stuff back into the deck.
No, that makes units.
Sorry, the Forge of Hope, Forge of New.
Yeah, but that
you know the card. The
you
2-drop
to sack it.
Sacrifice it, put cards onto the bottom.
Okay.
And the way it works, I'm not sure because I haven't like fully seen it, but those are the main pieces. And then it's doing some form of sacrificing on Echo to redo your runes.
Yeah.
Untap all your runes, and then also channeling more runes. So the Echo goes back into the deck, and then you replaying Renata with Fiora. Oh yeah, sorry, there's a Fiora to untap Renata.
Okay.
The yellow Fiora.
Okay.
So it's 1,000,000 pieces, by the way, in case you haven't noticed.
Okay.
To then replay your Renata, make her ready, pay the cost to gain a point, then reiterate the loop. And this is the kind of thing.
But do you lose runes when doing this?
You lose runes, but then sacrificing, depending on how many sacrifices you have, can catch you back up on runes.
Oh, I see.
So it's
then you. Oh, I see. So you basically go in a way where
you have to have your deck mostly empty, kind of like the Rengar combo with the dragons.
Yeah.
Your deck needs to be mostly empty, and you need to like put the cards in the bottom of your deck in a specific order where you'll find.
You'll draw them.
You draw the Echo
again,
as you Shadow's Call and sacrifice, and then find the Vanguard Armor. I keep calling it Vanguard Armor. The Forge
of Heroes.
The Forge to like put stuff back. Oh. And basically, I don't know how many iterations of the loop you have to do. Depends on how many points you're on. The rest of the deck is relatively mid-range. And it's just, I think the main plan of the Lux deck is you try to play a relatively fair game.
You just play control. Is it just like...
No, it's not control. It's purely just like a normal-ish unit deck.
Okay.
You just play relatively mid-range. Play a lot of card draw to find your combo. And once you've found it, and once you've been able to assemble it, you run away with the game after. It's very not competitive, but
okay.
But there was in China there was a guy who did really well in a city challenge with it.
Okay.
He did like top 16.
Okay, that's fair. But like, what's it called? Okay, I thought that like, cause like when I saw the tagline of Riftbound's first infinite combo. I was like, okay.
First of all, not true.
no,
It's not the first.
It was the first.
No, Rengar's the Dragon Vi infinite combos came first.
True, but
That's an infinite resource combo.
yeah, I don't know.
And yeah, it's like it's not good, I don't think, but
Doesn't
it's
sound good.
it's preying on the fact that we have 40 card decks with a lot of card draw.
Yeah.
So
Especially
you
when
can
you're
find it.
Especially when you're playing Lux too.
Exactly. I think the main thing is that it works with Lux. I don't know if there's a 5 mana spell that you like do to draw more cards. I think it's just Lux draws you cards.
Yeah. That's what I think. That's
I don't know. I mean,
that's why
correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I've never seen it like completed. I know Seth the Mill guy. Is that Chef the Mill guy made a video on it. His video fucking sucked because he was just telling what the cards are and not actually explaining how the combo works. It was like explaining how in the rules you can do a combo. It was like, bro, just show us how the combo
How
works.
does it work? How did like? I think it's because no one.
He was like, oh, in his video, he said, go watch this guy's video. He did the actual explainer. So what are you talking about,
So
man?
what's
What's the point of your video? Anyway.
I like the idea that like oh hey, here's a combo. I'm not gonna tell you how it works. Just go.
Yeah, go do your own
I
research.
also like the idea as well that this combo is so fucking convoluted that no one knows how to do it. Like no one's actually seen like it be done in person.
Yeah.
It's like that. Like do you remember the whole like drama about the whole yellow purple thing? Do you remember that?
Yeah, but that combo is very straightforward.
The combo is very There was like for context, like back in Spirit Forge when they announced that they're gonna do off-color decks, there was like 2 cards from one from Origins and one from Spirit Forge that Borderline gives you infinite units.
It's not borderline. It is straight up infinite up until
no.
you decide to declare that you're stopping.
Oh yeah, no, it can't. Obviously,
you can loop it like declare the amount and then you stop and then just like pass with infinite units at every battlefield and every location.
Well, like what's it called?
Or a near infinite.
I think it's like you only get it at one battlefield and base unless you win both.
Oh yeah, true. If you can win both, then yeah.
Yeah, but then like what's it called? Which is like it's fine, it's whatever. Like you have to.
I will put infinite units into this battlefield and infinite units in my base. After you pass the turn to me, I will move half of the infinite units on my base to the other battlefield.
Yeah, good luck. That'll be like the most satisfying unchecked power of all time. Like
you still lose to the other infinite units.
No. But I think it's funny that like
most satisfying ruination.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Which, by the way, ruination would not beat this combo because by the time you get enough mana to ruination, they would have already found the redundant pieces to start it up again.
Yeah. But anyway, well.
Yeah. Cool. So we talked about the meta. Also worth mentioning Azir. Azir is propping up a lot. Azir is kind of like the most fair broken combat deck.
Yeah.
Because a good player will always outdamage you and find damage out of their ass to like win any combat in the late game.
And the deck just has like
it's a very strong aggro deck in the sense where they'll always have units on curve. Their units will always be able to contest
and on top of that, like one point I want to point out because I play against the deck quite a bit was the units are on curve, but also above rate for what they are on curve. So they're like above rate units. Like they're above rate. For example, like one of the gears, Brutalizer, for example, makes an above rate 2-drop. And it's like, oh, like, okay, so this just beats my 2. So on a fundamental level, the unit, it just loses out to interaction really badly and also not seeing specific cards really bad.
I mean, the deck, my favorite part about Azir is that it completely folds to one red Destroy All Artifact card.
Oh, thermal.
Yeah, the completely folds to one thermal beam.
Thermo
Hilarious.
Thermo paste the card.
Yeah, it's like and my luck is that every time I played against Azir, funnily enough, except for a tournament, every time I played against Azir, somehow always find my 1/2 of Thermo Beam. So it's like the matchup for me is always a watch.
Yeah.
Thank God I like playing red decks.
Yeah. Now I had the thing where like I learned that you always bounce the units instead of the gear in one game, and I was like, oh, okay. Now that I've learned that, I just win now.
Because the deck is very power hungry if you're just putting equipments on stuff. So the deck does kind of just run out of resources as well. I remember I was watching and this is what I'm talking about when I say fair versus unfair matchups. I was watching the LeBlanc versus Azir game in one of the Chinese tournaments. Funnily enough, Azir did end up taking that game, but it was the kind of thing where Azir was in solid control of the matchup in one of the games for the whole game, and they made it to like 5 points. LeBlanc couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
But then LeBlanc got one battlefield, and the game was instantly lost for Azir. They got one battlefield, started playing shit there, started cloning their shit, started doing their bullshit, and Azir just lost on the spot, and they couldn't contest from there on.
Yeah, because how does it contest? Like realistically, is that like it has to win on the turn that it does the unit thing or whatever?
Yeah, and that's my
my
main problem with LeBlanc. You can play the matchup as quote unquote well as you want, but the second you slip control, the game is completely over because LeBlanc just needs
Yeah.
the,
You
the
need a-
inch. LeBlanc is the best deck at converting an inch into a mile.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think the deck does lose its specific decks really badly, but that's just me.
Fair.
But I think that's a what's it called? Do you have any other points besides deck? Now that players decided on deck, is there anything else that a new player should know about it? Like any roundabout thoughts or anything like that?
Don't get discouraged. It's very easy to just lose a bunch of games and be like, oh, this game sucks. But, this is like, that's just any TCG.
Yeah.
If you're hopping into a new TCG for the first time, or this is just how any game works. When you're getting into Smash or Mortal Kombat or whatever the fuck fighting game you want to play, you're going to lose the first half of your games, like, a lot.
It's like the thing. Do you expect to win like over half your games when you
No.
when you pick up a new thing? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's always that ruling. Like, don't expect to win don't expect to win a lot.
And the thing about Riftbound is our players are very sweaty and very like, oh, I love this game. I'm gonna play it for 50 hours every week. And it's like, we have a lot of sweat lords in our game, so don't expect to win against them.
But like, what's it called? But like, you do get like. My thing is that you get rewarded for learning your deck and learning your matchups really well.
Yeah.
Like you get because like the format is now in a spot where a lot of colors, like as long as you're not playing like some weird jank, legend or whatever, as long as you're playing like something that's in tier 2 or tier 1, like I think that most decks have a lot of answers for certain matchups that like may sound bad or may sound good. But then like, oh look, it actually works, and then because you know it works. Mm-hmm. So I think like, do you feel the ability that you should take your time, and learning the matchup will get you more wins, and just don't play blue purple. That's my final point.
Roll the outro. Dun, 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 dun.
No, I need to have you singing that one week. That would be funny.
I should remix that song.
But anyway, thank you guys so much for listening for this like hot jamble of a podcast. But
I think this was actually one of our most structured ones.
Yeah, it was the most structured because we decided to go in order. But regardless, thank you so much for listening, guys, or watching. And
and enjoy the shorts that are coming out.
Yeah, we're gonna try.
I hope you guys have been liking the shorts.
We've been trying more shorts.
If you're here from one of the shorts we've been making, hi.
Also, if you have any like what's it called things you want to ask or like us to talk about, feel free to comment them down or just like what's it called post, and we'll read some question out or something.
I want to do a fish mail style section every week. We answer with questions.
That'd be kind of fun, yeah. But anyway, thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.